Plesiosaurus is one of the animals on the hallscape inside the Innovation Center of Jurassic World, though it is currently unknown if any reside within the park itself. In the scrapped Jurassic Park animated series, one of the ideas for scenes in the series was a Plesiosaurus pursuing Tim and Lex Murphy while they were in an inflatable boat. The Plesiosaur Pond was an attraction originally meant to appear in Jurassic World but was cut from the final film. It was to be a large pool like the Jurassic World lagoon inhabited by Plesiosaurus and several unidentified species of ichthyosaurs.
𝓬𝓱𝓪𝓷𝓴𝓼 DNA was successfully collected by InGen and viable embryos have been created, though the animal never made it past that stage. However, a paddock was created before the 1993 incident. 𝓬𝓱𝓪𝓷𝓴𝓼 was among the many dinosaur embryos that Denis Nedry stole from the cold storage room at the beginning of the 1993 𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰 incident. As confirmed by a InGen file leaked by the Dinosaur Protection Group, the only viable embryos on 𝓀𝓬𝓬𝓬 were all destroyed due to water damage to the cool room during the incident, and so all of InGen's DNA samples were lost during the evacuation of Site B. Its status was set to terminated until new DNA samples were recovered.
This version of the Pteranodon was by far the biggest one, having a 10-meter or 32-foot wingspan as an adult. Pteranodon was successfully recreated by InGen in their lab on 𝓀𝓪𝓱𝓪𝓷𝓴𝓼, where they were fed and parented in captivity, being raised in the 𝓀𝓪𝓱𝓪𝓷𝓴𝓼 aviary. They did not appear to have any sexual dimorphism. The geneticists probably removed sexual dimorphism from the recreations because they wanted all the clones to be born female, and Pteranodon's famous crest belonged only to males in the genus. A distinctive trait of these clones are their beaks, covered in skin and possessing teeth, being the only species to do so. The variation of the Pteranodon that was seen at the end of Jurassic Park: The Lost World had many characteristics of birds that can be seen in its bipedal gait and neck posture with a hooked beak. This version was also originally supposed to have pycnofibers, but it was later changed. This variation of the Pteranodon was the closest to the original animal, lacking teeth and females not having crests that are the size of males. These new Pteranodon clones are also shown to have the ability to dive and swim underwater, similar to modern-day seabirds. Although it was shown to have the ability to use their feet to grab objects, just like the other clones. Pycnonymosaurus was used in the creation of the hybrid Indominus Rex in Jurassic World. But other than that, it hasn't made any other appearances anywhere else. The Pyroraptor was cloned by Biosyn and released to live within their sanctuary, where at least one individual lived atop the frozen lake held behind the valley's dam. Following the Biosyn incident and the area itself being declared a sanctuary, it is possible that other Pyroraptors are in the sanctuary as well as out in the world somewhere. By 2022, the Department of Prehistoric Wildlife had a confirmed sighting of a pair of 𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰 circling the CN Tower in Toronto, Canada. At least one adult individual was housed in Biosyn Sanctuary. The corporation's sanctuary has an aerial deterrent system, which keeps pterosaurs safely below 500 feet and away from inbound and outbound aircraft. 𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰 was used in the creation of the hybrid Indominus Rex in Jurassic World. Otherwise, not much else is known about this creature. 𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰 was used in the creation of the hybrid Indominus Rex in Jurassic World. This explains the Indominus prominent scale orientation.
The Scorpios Rex, codenamed E750, was a hybrid dinosaur frozen and held captive in InGen's secret tunnels until it escaped. There were two known individuals, the first one created by Henry Wu, with the second one being asexually reproduced by the original. Its features are heavily deformed and grotesque, which Simon Masrani determined made it unfit for display. These traits included a brachycephalic muzzle, a prominent overbite and jagged, uneven teeth. It has venomous spines on its elbows, tail and neck due to its scorpionfish DNA, which can detach and embed in an opponent's flesh. The Scorpios Rex appears to suffer from neurological and respiratory ailments. Its behavior is calm and placid 1 minute, before switching to hyper-aggressive and unpredictable the next. Like the Indominus Rex, it has infrared vision which allows it to see the heat signature of its prey. The Scorpios Rex was shown to be mindlessly violent and apparently ruthless, like the Indominus Rex, since it only killed its victims, and instead of eating them, even leaving some of its victims' corpses around the island in a grotesque view. It is also easily distracted by noise and fire, the latter of which fascinates it. Its highly aggressive nature also caused it to attack its own offspring, as demonstrated when both individuals decide to fight each other to the death. A Stegosaurus icon was located on a map of the Jurassic Park brochure, but the animal was never seen on screen. On the map, the Stegosaurus enclosure is located at the far southern end of the island where the tourist route does not connect. However, it is unknown if this enclosure was ever constructed. Stegosaurus was planned to be an attraction in Jurassic Park, with 48% of its genome being completed, but sadly, this had to be put on hold due to the 𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰 incident of 1993. Sinuseratops had been cloned by InGen by 2014 for their theme park Jurassic World on 𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰, with at least one herd being kept near the park's Camp Cretaceous Kids Camp. The genome for the Sinuseratops was recreated with an amalgam of ceratopsian DNA, including that of Pachyrhinosaurus. Sinuseratops populations survived on 𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰 until 2018, when the island's volcano became active and showed signs of a potential eruption. Several Sinuseratops were captured by Ken Wheatley and his mercenaries, where they were taken to the Lockwood Manor to be auctioned off, some of which were released into the wild. Smilodon was created by Manticorp sometime by 2016, with at least one specimen of the species living on Manticorp's secret island in the desert biome. The cloned specimen was incredibly similar to the original animal, with its coloring being mostly light yellowish-brown with some black streaks on its back.
Two Spinosaurus were created in 2016 by Manticorp after gaining Sinuseratops DNA from 𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰. Based on the Sinuseratops DNA, the Spinosaurus appears to be a generally peaceful hybrid dinosaur, although the male clone, Rebel, has been found to be much more peaceful than the female clone, Angel. However, whether this is simply a personal trait or indicates that female Spinosaurus are more aggressive, is unknown. Although Spinosaurus mostly feed on plants, they are actually omnivorous as they also eat fish. This is due to the Spinosaurus DNA, since spinosaurs are piscivorous.
Shortly after the acquisition of InGen by Masrani Global Corporation and after the passing of the Gene Guard Act, in 1999, several unnamed InGen scientists were sent to 𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰 to clone several dinosaurs in secret for genetic experiments and amalgam testing. Spinosaurus was one of the few dinosaurs cloned in the Embryonics Administration Lab. After being cloned and experimented on for 9 months in 1999, the unnamed InGen personnel set the dinosaur free alongside the other illegally bred dinosaurs. It was the largest carnivorous dinosaur on 𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰, being 6 meters or 20 feet tall, including the sail, more than 13 meters or 44 feet long and weighing 8 tons or 16,000 pounds in 2001. The same Spinosaurus from the 𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰 incident was relocated to Manticorp Island on Daniel Kahn's orders and designated as Asset 87 by Cash Langford, intended for usage in fighting rings. At this time, it was 17 years old and recorded at over 10 tons or 20,000 pounds. Stegosaurus is a hybrid of Stegosaurus, Triceratops, a butterfly, a cuttlefish, a flatfish, a jellyfish, a rhinoceros beetle, a snake, an unidentified invertebrate and possibly an owl, as well as some sort of cattle or 𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓰. Stegosaurus is seen on one of the computer monitors inside the Hammond Creation Lab, but it is unknown if it was ever created. The Stegosaurus was originally supposed to physically appear in the Jurassic World film in a scene where Owen Grady and Claire Dearing encountered it in the jungle, discovering that Dr. Henry Wu was making more hybrids in secret, but it was cut when the script was being written, due to Colin Trevorrow's son saying that if they had another hybrid along with Indominus Rex, the Indominus would feel less special.
These new Stegosaurus clones that were made for Masrani Global Corporation's new zoo, Jurassic World, were more accurately sized compared to the older clones, although they do have an inaccurate drooping tail most of the time, as well as less pronounced beaks that blended into the skin. The new cloned Stegosaurus lived in the Cretaceous Cruise, the Gentle Giants Petting Zoo and the Gyrosphere Valley. Several Stegosaurus were successfully captured by Ken Wheatley and his group of mercenaries to be loaded onto Arcadia to be taken to the mainland in preparation for the Mount Sibo eruption.
Its name appeared in the cold storage room, so it was probably planned to appear in Phase 2 of Jurassic Park. It was oddly mislabeled, Stegosaurus, in the storage room. Stegosaurus was one of the embryos stolen by Dennis Nedry for Louis Dogson. 11 Stegosauruses were successfully recreated by InGen in the lab on 𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰. The stegosaurs were parented and fed in captivity on the island. When Hurricane Clarissa struck 𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰, the InGen personnel left the island. The stegosaurs were either set free by the workers, broke out on their own, or because the storm had damaged the fences. Like Parasaurolophus lux, these variants of Stegosaurus have bioluminescent genes from marine lifeforms incorporated into their DNA, allowing them to produce their own light and glow in the dark to be one of the many dinosaurs that lived as an attraction for Masrani Global Corporation's Jurassic World. Stegosaurus lux appears in the Jurassic World Live Tour and Minecraft's Jurassic World DLC. At least 5 Stygimoloch were rescued from 𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰 and were taken to the mainland to be auctioned off.
but were eventually freed by 𝓀𝓪𝓷𝓬𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰 and 𝔀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰 and escape the manor alongside all of the other dinosaurs. At least 5 stygimoloch were rescued from 𝓀𝓪𝓷𝓴𝓼 and were taken to the mainland to be auctioned off, but were eventually freed by 𝓀𝓪𝓷𝓬𝓬𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰 and 𝔀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰 and escape the manor alongside all of the other dinosaurs. According to the Dinosaur Protection Group, Styracosaurus was subjected to cruelty sometime before 2018, although it is unknown if there are any surviving populations remaining.
𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰 was originally planned to be an attraction at Jurassic Park on 𝓀𝓪𝓷𝓴𝓼. About 75% of its genome was extracted, but sadly, this never came to fruition due to the financial problems that InGen faced during the 1990s. The dinosaur was recreated by InGen for Masrani Global Corporation's new dinosaur park, Jurassic World. 𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰 lived in the Cretaceous cruise with its relative baryonyx. After the fall of the park, wild populations of 𝓀𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰 lived on Isla Nublar, but were threatened by the island's volcano. By 2018, water poisoning and increased acidity caused by toxic emissions from the volcano were predicted to kill populations of aquatic creatures such as fish, endangering species such as the 𝓀𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓬𝓱𝓬𝓪. After the volcano's eruption, it is unknown whether any members of the species survived, as none were seen being taken to Lockwood Manor.
One known Tarbosaurus was cloned sometime during the opening years of Jurassic World, though it was never revealed to the public. Sometime after the Jurassic World incident, the Tarbosaurus was freed into the wilderness of Isla Nublar, where she had made a nest and laid multiple eggs. A version of the Tarbosaurus also makes an appearance in Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom in a painting as part of the Mononychus diorama. In Jurassic World: Fallen Kingdom, Pteranodon appears as a carcass outside of the old transmitter station on Isla Nublar and as a skeleton displayed in the Lockwood Manor. The head on the Nublar carcass is twisted in an unnatural manner, possibly indicating the animal had its neck broken in combat or was dismembered after death. It is unknown if any living specimens were left of this species by the time of Mount Sibo's eruption. The DNA of 𝓣𝓱𝓪𝓷𝓴𝓼 was used by InGen in the creation of the Indominus Rex in Jurassic World. A 𝓣𝓱𝓪𝓷𝓴𝓼 was also cloned by Biosyn and kept within the Biosyn sanctuary. This species is extremely territorial, and will viciously attack anything within its territory. At some point in its life, the 𝓣𝓱𝓪𝓷𝓴𝓼 within the valley was blinded and left with a white layer over its eyes similar to cataracts. As a result, the 𝓣𝓱𝓪𝓷𝓴𝓼 would find its way through the sanctuary via echolocation, smell and hearing.
13 Triceratops were created by InGen in their compound on 𝓀𝓪𝓱𝓪𝓷𝓰, where they were taken care of by the workers there. Triceratops were highly sociable. However, they were also aggressive as well, so they had to be treated with care. At the age of about a few months, 3 Triceratops were taken to live on Isla Nublar and be an attraction for InGen's Jurassic Park, where they lived in their own paddock. InGen created new clones of Triceratops for Masrani Global Corporation's Jurassic World. On Isla Nublar, they were slightly more social than the previous recreation, liking to be scratched under their frills and having their photo taken. However, like the old clones, they still had trouble discerning what was edible for them, at least when they were juveniles. The adults lived in the gyrosphere and the self-titled Triceratops territory, but the juveniles, or at least some of them, lived in the Gentle Giants petting zoo. A number of Triceratops appear on Isla Nublar fleeing from the erupting Mount Sibo, and at least 7 of them were captured. A dinosaur protection group mentioned 𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰 by finding an early InGen species list containing the species, albeit formerly active and then terminated, due to all embryos being destroyed. Another 𝓀𝓪𝓽 named 𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰 was cloned sometime for Jurassic World's operation of the Dino Decoder. During the 2015 incident, the Indominus Rex broke out and forced the park to close, as well as forcing the dinosaurs into the wild. By 2022, it has been revealed that some 𝓀𝓀𝓽 were taken to Lockwood Manor in 2018. The Department of Prehistoric Wildlife had confirmed sightings of 𝓀𝓀𝓽 in Massilleh, Iran, although the dinosaur doesn't appear in any movie.
7 Tyrannosaurus rex were cloned by InGen scientists in their compound on Isla Sorna, circa 1990. One Tyrannosaurus, according to JurassicWorld.com, had lived on Isla Nublar for over 25 years, born in 1988. This means that it would have been 5 years of age at the time of the Jurassic Park incident. This unidentified Pachycephalosaur hybrid was created by InGen using a Pachycephalosaurus, a cuttlefish, a tree frog, an unknown theropod, possibly an Acrocanthosaurus or Altispinax based on the hump on its back, and an unknown number of other organisms. This was one of the hybrids seen on the screen in the Hammond Creation Lab, alongside Stegosaurus and an unidentified Pachycephalosaur hybrid. It is unknown if it was ever created. Its genome probably consisted of 𝓀𝓪𝓬𝓱𝓪𝓷𝓴𝓼, cuttlefish, tree frog and other unknown organisms. Although it doesn't have an official name, some people in the community refer to it as 𝓀𝓪𝓬𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰. 3 velociraptors were created by InGen scientists on 𝓀𝓪𝓱𝓪𝓷𝓴𝓼 inside a compound. When they were old enough, they were transported to 𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰 to serve as an attraction for Jurassic Park. The 3 raptors were nicknamed Kim, Randy and the Big One. In Jurassic Park 3, a second variation of these species was introduced. Their skulls were longer and had crests located on the nasal bone of their skull, traits which are absent in the first variant. Unlike the first variation, the second vocalized and trapped more in hunting. Their traps were rather complex. These raptors too featured sexual dimorphism, but instead of just being a different color, males also had quills on their heads. The IBRIS Project raptors were each created uniquely. It is known from behind the scenes and promotional material that the raptors Blue, Delta, Echo, and Charlie were each created with DNA from another animal, these being the black-throated monitor for Blue, which would give her the ability to reproduce asexually, green iguana for Charlie, making her more reptilian-like, and birds for Echo and Delta respectively. The avian DNA would also make Delta act more bird-like as well, despite that she's depicted with round pupils due to the gecko DNA in addition to the increased avian DNA used in her creation. Genetic material of the 𝓀𝓱𝓪𝓷𝓴𝓼 was used in the creation of the hybrid Indominus rex in Jurassic World. Other than that, not much else is known about this creature. 𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰 was mentioned in Jurassic World by 𝔀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰 in the following scene, possibly hinting at the existence of the animal in the park.
The Indominus Rex makes us relevant again.
The Indominus Rex.
We needed something scary and easy to pronounce. You should hear a 4-year-old try to say 𝓀𝓪𝓽𝓬𝓱𝓲𝓷𝓰.
We should hear you try to say it.
In Jurassic World, Camp Cretaceous, the bones of a woolly mammoth appear on a tray being wheeled across the room. This could be a reference to the InGen facility Martel operating in Siberia, where, coincidentally, mammoth remains are found.